have roll call, please?
Dankert.
Here.
Gallops.
Here.
Gotsky.
Here.
Iverson.
Here.
Reamer.
Here.
Schatzinger.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for this beautiful day with the wonderful sunshine. We thank you for your presence in our midst. We ask that you be with the council as they discern the things for the city. Be with all the citizens, that we think seriously about our life together, what that means, and take serious our being involved in what we do as a city, as a community, lifting each other up, building each other up, walking beside each other. Let your blessing be upon all the council members in this meeting. In Christ's name I pray.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion by Doug, second by Jolene. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. No one has signed up for public comment. So we'll move into accepting informal reports from standing committees and staff. Is there a motion to approve as published?
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
A motion by David, second by Steve. Any discussion? Doug?
On the Public Works Committee meeting, I noticed that there's some discussion on some of the bridges in the city, including, where is it, Jackson and Pacific. Any comment on that, and what does that really mean?
I mean, I would encourage you to, if you have a chance to watch the meeting, we can also, if you look at the online packet that's available there, there's some bridge report information. Generally speaking, if you have any questions about those reports, we'd be happy to forward them to you if you request them.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on the reports? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting informal reports from standing committees and staff, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Next is the consent calendar. This has common council minutes from December 9th. Is there a motion to approve consent calendar as published?
I'll make a motion to approve as published.
I'll second.
A motion by John, second by Mark. Any discussion on the consent calendar? Jolene?
I know I've mentioned this in the past, and so I'm assuming with the new system, it just can't be done. But I don't necessarily like when looking at our voting record, and if it's split, and so then there's just check marks hanging out, you're left to sort of guess what column it's under, because the heading is not there. So I'm just noting that if that can be fixed, my understanding is it probably can't be, but it would make it clear for people looking at the minutes and seeing our voting record.
Thank you. Mark?
I would just say that for the ones that are carried unanimously, you can at least then tell that they were all a yes vote.
Right.
And then unfortunately, if it was split on one that was just carried, there may be a difficulty in seeing it, but for the majority of the times that it's split in these minutes at least, you can infer that from the notation on the bottom of the vote.
And I would just note that the official publication to the paper won't have that page break that breaks those things up. So unless we want to just continue to have minutes that run for pages and pages, that's how they're presented, because you'd have to page break it to get it all on one column or one page.
I guess good point. So if people are looking at on the online where it's officially kept, which of course I've done, but then that page break doesn't matter. So I guess what you're saying is it only matters for us looking at it here in person. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any further discussion on the consent calendar? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. All right, moving to our first agenda item. This is pay application number 4 for the Ripon Public Library renovations. This is in the amount of $228,223.25 to RJM Construction, and it is recommended for approval.
I'll make a motion to accept pay application number 4 totaling $228,223.25.
I'll second.
Motion by Doug, second by Mark. Any discussion? Done.
If I'm reading this right, there's no change orders at all through the whole thing?
There's I think been one change order submitted regarding carpet, so that was filed to the library board, because they'll be paying that overage. That won't be grant eligible. But yeah, to date, there's, I believe, only been one formal change order submitted. The project is now ramping up and becoming, we had a project status meeting earlier this afternoon. The children's wing is essentially done. It looks fantastic, and they're working toward where everything is now, been moved over. There will be a closure within the next month or so.
We
starting
voted on that tonight.
February 9th.
9th, I think.
Yeah. So that they will close down, move everything, start phase 2, move everything, start phase 3. So things are progressing. And yes, there's only been one approved change order. It would be on the next pay application, but that's being covered by the library board.
That's nice, that's good.
And Doug, the closure is estimated for 1 week, is that correct?
Yeah, for about a week. They're going to be moving stuff for like 7 days. Hopefully, back, I think, Monday the 16th. Is that a Monday? Because I think that's when we talked about.
I think you're correct.
All right, I didn't write it down. With a caveat that if it's not done, there will be another day or two closure. But
Right.
that's it in a nutshell.
Any further discussion on pay application number 4 for the library project? Jillian?
Because we're on the topic of the library, whenever I've stopped in, I've just been so impressed, and I want to just give a shout out to the staff that are dealing with, being creative with the different entrance and the changes and the construction, and they are never complaining, going with the flow, and I just want to give a shout out to all of the library staff for maintaining a positive attitude, as I know it can be more difficult. And my guess is too that there'll be information going out to patrons that have books out when it's closed and what will happen.
There'll be signs, everybody will know.
Great.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving pay application number 4 for the Ripon Public Library renovations in the amount of $228,223.25, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. Next item is a pay application number 3 for Selfridge Park project. This is in the amount of $143,000 or $143,300.85 and is recommended for approval. John?
I'll make a motion to approve pay application number 3 for the Selfridge Park project.
I'll second.
A motion by John, second by Jonathan. Discussion.
How far along is that? How far along is that project?
The open air shelter is completed, the concrete work as far as I'm concerned is completed. The info shelter work is being done, the playground is completed, it's the part of the path, shoreline path has to be completed, the parking lot. And other than like site, everything, the majority of what's done.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. all those-
I just want to say,
Go ahead.
I've had people from the district say that they're really excited about that. I give a shout out to the department for really putting some thoughtfulness into what this park will look like. And I hope people will get to look at it. It's closed right now, but in the spring when it's open, please go take a look at it. And I think some of the noted things that are the only ones in the area would be the ADA kayak launch, and there also would be wheelchair accessible picnic tables that are being looked at as with some of the new. So anyways, it's really neat to see, and it's providing assets that are not currently available in the city.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving pay application number 3 for the Selfridge Park project in the amount of $143,300.85, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. Next up is appointment of Democratic, Republican, and unaffiliated election inspectors for 2026 election year. Diane, do you want to give any summary on this?
Real quick, these are a list of people that were used in the past. There is one Republican nomination listed on that. By law, we do have to include that person and train that person. We will not be having a February primary, so it does give me a little leeway in regards to training. I will be reaching out to them shortly in regards to training, and that's all I have right now.
Okay. And does this need approval from the council? Or,
Yes.
okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the recommended list?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommended list.
I will second.
A motion by Steve, second by David.
I got a question for Lud. I understand that it's like a small election and it doesn't matter, it's uncontested for me. But do I have to abstain as I'm up for election and my mom is one of these names that will be an observer?
That would be a kind of, the mom part of it
Okay.
would be a reason to say I'm abstaining.
Okay.
Not that you're up for the
Yeah,
election.
I figured not that because we'd lose
The mom
half
thing,
of
I
it.
think, would be a reason.
And for transparency, if it comes down to me voting on this, my sister is also
There we go.
election inspector, so I will abstain as well. Any further discussion?
I just want to say thank you for everyone that is on this. I think it's a very noble thing to have safe and fair elections, and so it's great to see such good people on this list.
There's no further discussion. All those in favor of approving the recommended list for election inspectors, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
That is approved. Thank you. All right. Next up is Selfridge Park site furnishing purchase. Ashton, if you'd like to step forward and give us a review on this.
Okay, hi everyone. So this item is for the approval of the site furnishings at Selfridge Park. They were developed in line with the master plan and overall park improvement project. They were intentionally bid separately to allow us to customize the selections and to avoid contractor markups. But we worked specifically with vendors that the city has worked with before to ensure durability, consistency, cost efficiency. The overall package includes benches, swing benches, tables, bike racks, and trash cans and recycling receptacles. I provided a site layout for the tables, and then there's the bike racks as well. And then there's the Selfridge Park map. As you see along the shoreline, it maps out where all the swing benches and benches are. That's what all those small little rectangles are on the map. It's kind of hard to see that, but so I provided that as well as warranty information if you guys have any questions on that. But overall, the Parks and Recreation Committee reviewed it, and they forwarded it on to you all for approval with the total cost of the furnishings coming out to $40,843.32.
And that total is across all vendors.
Yes, across all vendors, yes.
Mark?
Two notes. I love the duck-themed or the
Yes.
duck-shaped bicycle racks. One, because they're bicycle racks, and I'm all for having more of those around the city. And two, because I think it does really fit the theme of our park being right on the pond. And then the other bicycle racks, I think there's two of the other larger ones.
Yep.
Are also excellent. But I did notice these swing benches are a different style than what are at the dam right now. Is there a driving force for that, or it just fit better, cost, et cetera?
So that style is the same style that's at Horner Park and at I know the Senior Activity Center is up at Murray Park, but we're kind of going with the same. It's the Monona Thomas Steel bench. So
Okay.
it's other than the coloring of the bench is different because it doesn't come in the galvanized finish that we have at the other parks. That's really the only difference between the other parks. So we just carry it on into
Yep.
Selfridge.
So it's a product that we already have and we
Yes.
like, and it's working well and holding up.
Yeah, no, they're really, really nice benches. Yeah.
Thank you.
John?
Are we going with wood tops or composite tops?
It's it's a recycled plastic material.
We're going to go with that. Is that going to have any trouble with graffiti scratched
So
in it?
far with at the Senior Activity Center in Horner Park, there's a single scratch I can tell you about at the Senior Activity Center, but other than that, they really have withstood any scratches or anything. I know that Selfridge Park does get hit more often with vandalism, but hopefully with the new security measures and everything, and with the added amenities and stuff, hopefully that does slow down, so.
Okay.
And we will be securing everything.
Yes.
Picnic tables won't be loose. The picnic tables are
So
incredibly heavy.
Very heavy.
The composite will be.
Yes.
The ones up at the Senior Activity Center, I think Ashton can move them herself, but
It's hard, it hurts your back.
Don't get hurt.
It doesn't shift well, yeah. Yes. Yeah, so everything, bike racks, tables, benches, everything is fixed to the concrete, so will be.
Could you just refresh my memory on Selfridge? Was this one of the parks that got the security cameras?
yes.
And it'll be installed on like the new open air?
It'll be installed on the existing warming house, the bathroom shelter.
Okay.
So it'll have a panoramic view.
So that cost was when our already approval went through on that, when we talked about it? It's not in the site furnishings here?
It's not in the site furnishings. No,
Okay.
that's separate. That's a separate project outside of the park enhancements. So this is kind of in tandem with park. That's a separate project through all facilities where security cameras are being installed.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the site furnishings for the total of $40,843.32.
I will second.
A motion by Mark, second by David. Any discussion? Thank you, Ashton.
Yep, thanks.
If there is no further discussion, all those in favor of approving site furnishing purchase for Selfridge Park in the amount of $40,843.32, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next up is a state municipal financial agreement for the State Highway 2344 pavement repair, which will be not the one coming in 2030, but 2032. Ed?
So in your packet, you have a draft state municipal finance agreement and a map of the area in which the state has proposed a project. Also in the packet is a staff report. This is kind of your standard municipal agreement with the state to do a project. It was sort of a surprise to the city. Alan and I have worked with them over the last few years regarding the 2030 major reconstruction of State Highway 23. In working through that project, we have expressed our concerns about other areas within the city, and we have received opportunities to support the state's efforts in investing in Ripon through letters of support and give them applying for funding. And basically, they came forward with this opportunity, which is generally a concrete rehabilitation and pavement repair project on sections of State Highway 23 and 44. So this would be generally in the area of Douglas, Blackburn area, and then out on the west side of town, out 23. past Union. So sort of the areas that are not getting done with the state highway reconstruction in 2030. These are concrete areas. This is not a full reconstruction, okay? This is, taking panels and patching and identifying areas that need rehabilitation and crossings and things of that nature. Overall, the project is scoped to be over $2 million, of which the city's portion is a 25% of the estimated engineering, which is about $50,000. The engineering will begin. They will work with the city to scope the project, address areas, and then execute the project as the state in 2032. We understand the condition of the state highways in the community. The state is on a 7-year planning cycle, right? So anytime we have an opportunity to work with the state, they come forward with one of these agreements, and it's generally 6 or 7 years before the project is executed, but that is how they work, right? That is their timeline. So we are on the 7-year rotation to get this project done. We would advise and recommend that you do approve this so we can continue to work on it. The city is obligated through this time to, through our agreements with Connecting Highway Aid, maintain these areas. But generally speaking, this is a very advantageous agreement for the city based on the number of dollars going to be invested in those areas. You can also see here the sequencing of potential projects in Ripon, okay? While we would like to see things maybe a little bit more spread out over time, we have in 2030 the major reconstruction that we're already working and planning on and will include utilities, all of that, right? 2031, they're looking at doing State Highway 23 from Douglas out to Rosendale. And then 2032 would be this project. In 2033 or 34, they have said they will be back to do State Highway 44 or Matoman. Basically not a full reconstruction, but a resurfacing type of project. So we will continue to work with the DOT on these projects, and we would recommend that this be approved so we can continue to scope this out with the DOT over the next few years.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Jonathan. I heard John first on the second. Motion by Jonathan, second by John. Any discussion on this item?
I think it's a good agreement.
Yeah. It almost seems too good to be true.
My only question,
$1,000 for a $2 million project.
Reconstruction.
We're happy they're listening when
Yeah.
we are, that when we are going to them saying, what about this area? They are then going and approaching their people at the DOT and planning this out. So yes, $50,000 is a small engineering bill to pay for them to invest over $2 million in our local state highways here.
Yeah.
my only question would probably be for Alan. Do we know the condition of the buried utilities, water, sewer in those sections?
The only area that we're starting to investigate right now will be Montgomery Street, because that would be more of a revision, more of a mill and overlay, so we want to evaluate what we have there and we'll look at that.
And that's just an asphalt road, not concrete, correct?
That's
So,
asphalt, but nonetheless, we'd like to see what we can do to ensure or minimize any disruption of that application.
And I'll just add that planning out the 2030 project will allow us to view what improvements may need to be made in these sections ahead of doing the project in this. So certainly, we will be studying kind of all of it.
very good. Jolene?
No, Mayor, that was a good question. That was my question.
All right. Anyone else? If there is no more discussion, all those in favor of accepting the state municipal financial agreement for the State Highway 2344 pavement repair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. All right, next up is lead service line replacement policy and guidance for construction and improvement projects. Adam or Alan? When do you want us to start this?
We can kind of tag team it. Ultimately, what you have in front of you was reviewed by the Public Works Committee in December and recommended for adoption to the Common Council. In working through some of the projects more recently and identifying the need to replace lead service lines throughout the community, the city staff wanted to develop a more focused policy on what occurs when we get to a project or we're planning a project and we need to replace lead service lines. An example of this is Hamburg Henny. We had a number of lead service lines that were replaced as part of the project. This sets sort of that standard we use there to other projects. So in anticipation of a project, we will communicate with property owners, provide them options to replace. But generally speaking, we have an ordinance that says when we are there to do a project, you must replace your lead service line, regardless of if there is funding or anything available, right? So when we look at this sets sort of a standard that, staff can follow and proactively plan, as well as when we do encounter a lead service line in a project, giving us guidance to get that resolved, right? Our ordinance says that we can disconnect people if they refuse to replace their lead service line during a project. We just want to be very clear with people that that is a reality because we've had to do that in the past. And obviously, it creates a reaction. Ultimately, we have a number of lead service lines that need to be replaced, and we've identified them in a number of projects, including Hamburg Henny. Houston Street will be done. There are a number of potential lead service lines there, and you sometimes don't know until you're digging, right? So it just sets the framework for us to more proactively address this in planning. It's kind of codifying what we're already doing. There have also been a number of letters gone out throughout the community that discuss if someone has a lead service line. If they don't, there are unknowns. We have an inventory. I can certainly show you a map here of all of the lead service lines that we have done. This kind of relates to the next discussion point as well, but hopefully this pulls up. We worked with our engineers to put together a map that can use our inventory to identify all confirmed lead, confirmed galvanized, and unknown may be, right? So the vast majority are unknown. So there's been a lot of letters that have gone out. We have done videos as well for public outreach to teach and educate the public about how to identify a lead service line, what to do. We have scheduling softwares that we can have our public works staff and water department come out and review. So we're really taking this seriously because we're on likely about a 10 to 12 year window to get these replaced. So we have an idea of the inventory. We have an idea of the projects we're going to do to get the lead out of the system. But beyond that, we have a lot of unknowns. So with that, we just wanted to bring this forward. Certainly, the priority in terms of this are the ones that are confirmed lead. And you can just see on the map, all of this information and our inventory is publicly available. If somebody has a question, again, please reach out. You can also go and check your water line and report it to the city. If you got a letter, you can go online and fill out a form. If you understand how to test if it is a lead service line. Overall, there are approximately 51 known lead service lines. That number should reduce based on just the Hamburg Henny project and the Houston project. And then we also have documented here public side. So this is city side. So this policy also addresses the city side that may have lead, which we have some confirmed and we have some that are unknown. So we have the data, we have the information, it's publicly available, and this is just, we have an ordinance that this policy would support, and it just kind of formalizes it more for staff.
I just wanted to point out that this enforcement and need to take action when found is not something that the city of Ripon is just doing because we don't want lead service lines in our city, although that is true. There are EPA and state rules about our water system and the, what we can, materials we can use in them. So that we're also being, as a city, being held to standards, and that's what I think a big driver of why we need to go and take action on this.
Julie?
A quick question. I had my plumber take a look at our, where the water comes in, and my understanding from what I've read, from what we have sent out to the city, is that that's how you can tell if you have a lead service line. But you had noted that sometimes you don't know until you dig into the ground. Is that true for the homeowner service line, or that's the city? The city, we wouldn't know until we dig, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are things that are called like lead goosenecks, and you don't know necessarily. Obviously, if you look at points in town where there was construction, there's a parts of town that there's unlikely to be lead based on the fact that there wasn't that material being used. In the 80s, Alan would know more than me. But generally speaking, you should be able to tell if you have lead based on scratching it and magnetism, and there's videos out there. We have stuff on social media. We have stuff on our city website. People can look and access and learn how to check it themselves, or they can schedule one of our department members to come out and view it for them so they don't have a plumber charging them, right? So, but really, yes, I mean, we don't know until we're digging sometimes, and some people may report that they have galvanized, right? Or copper, just to say, I don't have it, right?
Got it.
They just may not, so there's always that chance that we encounter it. So this just kind of sets the standard of how we react after that.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve this policy?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the lead service line replacement policy and guidance for construction and improvement projects.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mark, second by Jolene. Any further discussion? There is no discussion. All those in favor of approving the lead service line replacement policy and guidance for construction and improvement projects, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. All right. Next item is the wheel tax capital improvement plan, guidance, and project bidding list.
So again, this went to the Public Works Committee in December, and it was recommended for approval to the Common Council. So staff have been working through establishing criteria and drafting a list based on that criteria of roads to bid out in 2026 using the wheel tax or the vehicle registration funds that are being collected by the Department of Transportation or DMV and forwarded to the city. So you can see like a tool like this where we can take the condition of a road based on Pazer ratings, right? So Pazer ratings, we biannually rate roads based on the condition. So Alan and the Public Works crew go out and they look at a road and they rate it from 1 to 10, 1 being pretty much gravel and 10 being a brand new road. So from this type of information, we can look and say, what criteria do we want to use to kind of invest in roads that are poor, as well as invest in maybe some of the other challenges we're having, like lead service lines, just what projects are not already in a capital improvement plan that require more reconstruction, what roads don't need full reconstruction, safety concerns, cost effectiveness. You can see basically street classification, getting it to local roads, because the intention of the wheel tax was to attack roads that we don't currently have on a capital plan and that are more in line with local roads. So we have collectors and minor collectors. If you remember a couple months ago, we talked about the classification of roads in the city. So we're really trying to prioritize this in the area of most need to address as many issues as possible with the available funds. So we have established this criteria and looking at as well at geographical distribution. So we're not just, all north side, right, or all south side, right? Trying to spread projects around the community annually. So we have used that to create a list and put together 2 projects that we would recommend bidding out. Obviously, there's only so many dollars to go into the project. So we wanted to try to maximize the amount, potentially maximize dollars with TIF districts as well, to see if we could get more done with the dollars. Ultimately, the 2 roads that were suggested were Tabbert Street from Washington to Eureka and Hall Street from Stanton to Douglas. Both of these stretches score highly in terms of their condition, in terms of the potential of lead service lines, geographical distribution, average daily traffic, and then when's the last time that an actual project occurred there. We would look at either bidding these out in tandem with the Houston Street project as a bid alt. We very well could also work to bid these out outside of that project, just because we may want to do it more quickly, right? Because the Houston project is a bigger reconstruction. So our recommendation is that we set the guidance and that we look at bidding out those 2 projects in 2026. Once those projects are bid, they would come back to the council for authorization in discussion at that point.
Bud, do you want those 2 recommendations done on separate
Yes,
motions?
yes.
So if we want to take these one at a time then, if anyone would like to make a motion or start discussion on approving the improvement plan and guidance.
I'll make a motion that the wheel tax capital improvement plan guidance and project bidding list to bid Tabbert Street, Washington Street.
If we can take them as 2 separate motions, so just do the
Oh, yeah, I was
guidance
just going to do
first.
just Tabbert, I was just going to finish with Tabbert Street, Washington Street to Eureka Street.
But we want to have 2 separate motions,
Well,
one
you can-
just for the guidance.
Just for the
But you
guidance.
can do guidance then for
First,
Hall Street.
guidance separately.
Stanton Street to Douglas
But
Street.
the
Pass the policy, then the
policy,
project.
the
Oh.
guidance policy,
Policy first.
and then we'll come back and
Do the bid.
do the bid separately.
Understood.
Would like to rephrase your motion.
I will rescind my motion and resubmit to wheel tax capital improvement plan guidance.
Second.
I have a motion by Mark and a second by John. Any discussion on just the guidance policy?
No, sorry.
Go ahead.
I do think it's important that the community understand what we're planning on doing with this registration fee or the wheel tax money, that it is going back into specific kinds of residential streets, those that are most likely on a 100-year replacement plan, that in their lifetime, they will never see it done. This does lower that, does actually invest in the older neighborhoods that need to have it done. So we're not ignoring, we're trying to use what we have to make that road better.
Yeah, just to echo what Doug was saying, I think it's important that we use these funds to focus on areas that otherwise would not get done. And that's kind of the, the end piece of it is how are we going to plan for maintenance? And this is it. This is the plan right here.
Any further discussion on the policy? Jolene?
My question is, and maybe I don't want to advocate for this because I like that we have some flexibility as this provides, it's guidance that provides flexibility about maintaining consistency in decision-making. I really like that because I think all of us want to see projects being moved forward more quickly, as my colleague just mentioned. should there be anything stating that funds from a given year should be used, I don't know, timeline, or, I mean, we want to use these funds as soon as we can anyways. So is it nice that we don't put any parameters? I think, if people were fearing that we're going to hold on to this money for a number of years until we spend it, I just think nobody wants that. So I don't think that that's a fear
Well,
that probably needs to be addressed.
by leaving it open the way it is, if there is a project that may be a $300,000 project, and we need 2 years' worth of funds to cover that project, this allows for that. Or if we have a year where we only use 100,000, we can roll that extra money over to the next year. So it does allow that flexibility. Steve?
Also, Jolene, some of those areas have the TID funds. So that's an addition to, what the wheel tax would provide.
Right.
So that'll help in the long run. That's why I'm on that committee, so that's the reason.
Mark, then Doug.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in our registration fee language, it does have some bounds on not the timeline per se of when the funds can be used, but specifically that those funds need to be used for our road and transportation infrastructure. So, there may be fears of, this extra assessment is going and it's paying for parks, or it's paying for the library, or it's paying for X, Y, or Z, that wasn't necessarily intended, and that in the language of it, that is not allowed. So that should help somewhat for some of those concerns.
It's not my concern, because I know that we have that, but I'm glad that you bring that up to people seeing that.
Right,
And because of that, I don't think we need to necessarily address that in this, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, there's an annual report, there's annual, planning through budget cycles, right? It's going to be, the projects we select it's going to be dependent upon the money we collect, and so there's certainly going to be some flexibility needed, and ideally, we would do a project every year. But again, if there's a big project that, it becomes a priority, that is a longer stretch, or we want to do 2 projects in one and we need more money, maybe we take a year off down the road here. But generally speaking, we tried to identify projects that we could pick off annually.
Right.
Doug?
And I would like to remind everybody, based on what Adam has said before, that this does increase the money, the money we pay for road repair, increasing the possibility of getting more money from the state. Is that correct?
Yeah, generally speaking, the more money you spend in transportation-related expenses, it gets factored into your calculation for state transportation aid. They have a 3- and 6-year average. Through the budget cycle, we went through that, and our 3-year average has increased by like $2 million, and our 6-year average has increased on average by about $1 million over that period of time. So this will only, if we continue to aggressively attack infrastructure through projects like Hamburg-Henny, like Houston Street, like the ones we have done, adding this in certainly from our experience shows that the equation that the state uses to fund us for transportation-related expenses, the more you spend, the more you are eventually provided back, based on that averaging calculation.
Thank you, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion on the policy? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the City of Ripon Wheel Tax Capital Improvement Plan Guidance Policy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. And Mark, would you like to do the second motion?
Yes, and I can do both in this one.
Yes. Because this would be for sending it out to bid, not for approval at this time.
I would like to make a motion to direct administration to seek bids for road improvements on Tabbert Street, including Washington Street to Eureka Street, I cannot say that word tonight, and Hall Street, Stanton Street to Douglas Street.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mark, second by Steve. Any discussion on that? John?
The section on Hall from Stanton to Douglas, I don't think that has curb and gutter. Now, we're not adding, that's not included in that price, right?
That is correct. That is in what would be considered more of a rural, non-urbanized road.
Okay.
We had goals to do that, but looking at the overall layout of the road there, with the ditches and everything, putting in curb gutter, putting in sidewalks, all that stuff would just really blow up the budget for that. So keeping it as is would be the goal. And that's been the feedback we've received generally from, I think, the residents along that area.
Okay.
So it was identified as an easier, more affordable project because we don't need to do any curb and gutter. And it's basically a pretty simple pulverized mill and overlay.
We don't currently allow large trucks on there, right? For
Stretch is-
Alliance Laundry or
That stretch is signed for no trucks.
no truck?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So this is how I understand it, that if people do not see their road on here and they are disappointed, it doesn't mean that the city is not looking at making sure that, potholes are fixed, et cetera, and that we're not, taking note of other roads outside of this. Is that these are just given priority right now based on the wheel tax funds. And that being said, so I'm assuming, is what I just said correct?
This project will not detract from our standard road maintenance program.
Super. So there's other road maintenance for people listening. And then if people do have a concern about the condition of their road, should they contact you, Adam, or Public Works?
Either.
So nice thing about the wheel tax program is it puts projects in the works that otherwise would not have been considered at all, at least for probably 50 years. So this is not in lieu of maintenance, it's in addition to what we already do and what we're planning to do.
Can you remind me when we get that check? Is it the end of
When we get the check,
Yeah.
it's monthly.
Oh, it is monthly. Okay.
There's a
Thank you.
deposit monthly.
Perfect.
Sean, monthly, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion on sending projects out to bid? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending Tabbert Street from Washington to Eureka and Hall Street from Stanton to Douglas to be sent out for bid, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. All right. Next item is amending the Ripon Area Fire District bylaws. Adam or Sean, who wants to start this?
Yeah, I can start. So in your packet, you have a staff report as well as two supporting documents. The first being amendments to the existing Ripon Area Fire District bylaws, and the second being an amended budget that was presented and approved by the Ripon Area Fire District at its most recent meeting. There was a separate handout put in front of everybody that had one strikeout of language in section. That section began to be deleted, but it was after section EF. There is duplicate language from the previous bylaws that's just crossed out. So that's just for reference as well. I've provided the staff report regarding the sort of the history and background more recently regarding a fire truck engine or a fire engine purchase, as well as concerns that we have as administration and things that have been discussed at the Ripon Area Fire District regarding current bylaws. Ultimately, there's a few recommendations here listed at the end of the staff report, and we're happy to discuss those recommendations as needed with the council.
And just for clarification for anyone following along in the packet at home, the line that he is referring to is section F. It is the last sentence. That is just redundant language and has been struck through. Who wants to start a discussion? And ultimately, we would be looking for a motion to recommend these bylaws to the fire district for approval.
Has the town seen these changes yet? The towns that are involved?
Well, it's my understanding that this exact language was presented
Okay,
at Ripon Area Fire District Board meetings going back many months, and we're open for discussion. And certainly from the staff report, as well as anybody on the Ripon Area Fire District Board can discuss how those meetings went and what progress has been made regarding those bylaws and efforts by the Ripon Area Fire District to discuss bylaw amendments with other members of the district.
And there is a brief summary of that on page 2, I believe, of the staff report, in the center of the page.
Steve, yeah, maybe not exactly this wording was presented, but the general amendments presented here have been seen at the fire district meetings.
And then this language for amendments is strictly on the attachment and detachment clauses of the bylaws, which both of these adjustments would make it a lot more favorable for other municipalities to join the fire district. And if for any reason a municipality wants to leave, it gives a cleaner path for that to happen.
So, and I can summarize the proposed amendments, right? So the proposed amendments strictly revolve around attachment and detachment. Okay, so there are a lot of other things within the bylaws that are not being touched, whether that be financial safeguards, board composition, voting composition and requirements. So for example, within the bylaws, there is, if the city has 4 members essentially and could create a majority, they can't vote as a block. They need another member to vote with them to pass anything within the fire district. So the current attachment clause requires a joining municipality to pay a portion of the assets to enter. And the goal of the proposed bylaws for attachment is to allow for a more feathered or layered payment in and to try to grow the district, right? There has been shrink, like the district from its original composition has gotten smaller. And it is a goal, just as I believe some of the fire district members have talked about in the past, just viewing their meetings, that there's an appetite to try to grow the district, to bring more in because of the economies of scale and cost shares and things of that nature. The other side of it is then the detachment, which says if anybody were to leave, that they would forfeit all interest in all equipment and assets and finances of the district. So the city of Ripon in the formula pays anywhere from 70–75% of the assets. There's certainly an idea of, and then there's been an action to order a fire truck that the city would pay a significant amount of money toward. That in the event of detachment, that investment would go to the remaining members under the current bylaws. So the detachment clause would provide 36 or 365 days of written intent to withdraw, compensation based on the same method of funding into it, and a couple other proposed languages summarized. So essentially, it becomes a vested interest or financial interest of the municipalities instead of just forfeited in the event of detachment. Again, those are the only 2 sections that are being proposed or were recommended to approve. and recommended be forwarded to the Ripon Area Fire District.
I'd like to make a note that there were some amendments that were voted on and passed at the fire district, but it is my understanding that, and this would have been maybe in 2013 to 2015 timeframe, I don't remember exactly which year it was, sorry, but those were not brought to all of the member municipalities for adoption, or to ratify, so to speak. And I tried my best to find the language to kind of see what these current bylaws have versus what those amendments were at that time, and I was unable to find any clean documentation of that. But certainly, the current bylaws are from 2010, and there's just, reading through them, I just saw some kind of structural and technical issues that I think the fire district is going to have to address as well. And just, it would be in the interest of all of the municipalities, I believe, to really focus on trying to grow the district. And whether that's possible or not, I think removing any hurdles to doing that from the bylaws would be a good move. Now, I've asked around, I've talked with some people about, what municipalities may or may not be interested. I don't know, that's up to those municipalities. But the district right now does not have a very strong future improvement plan or a very strong placement or path into the future without some form of change in how it's handling itself. And I think a lot of that may be driven by past assumptions and past feelings and things that have happened in the past, but though I don't think that we should let those, and I don't think that it would help anyone in the municipalities or on the board to continue to go back to decisions made previously to inform what we need to do moving forward. And I say that specifically because I think big changes are going to need to be made in any case, no matter what happens from if the city of Ripon decides to integrate EMS and fire protection together, or if the Ripon Area Fire Board is going to continue to stand alone as a fire district. It's going to need to make decisions to improve and make itself have a stable base and good leadership. And I don't think that these bylaws, as they're written, are always going to be conducive to making those decisions. There's a lot of ambiguity. There's a lot of wording in here that leaves open too many questions that may not give guidance and may not give informed decisions for the municipalities in the district. So I think these changes are one step and an important step, and certainly we should look at them and discuss them. But to my fellow board members and any municipalities out there listening, I'm going to say that this is not the end-all be-all. I think the board and the district will need to make changes to really steer the ship in a good direction. And this would just be one little input into that, and we can continue on from there.
So would they have to present this to like a town lawyer and our city lawyers in order to codify all this, or is this going to be just?
The process would be that the fire board would review this and accept this, and then it comes back to the municipalities. That'd be the city of Ripon, the town of Ripon, and the town of Nepiescum for approval, and it has to be approved unanimously by all three entities.
Right, okay.
But like I said, we would be looking for a motion to refer this language to the fire board for approval, which would be this first step of it coming back to us for ratification.
Are you looking for a motion, Mayor?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve these bylaw changes as presented tonight.
And refer them to the fire.
And refer them back to the Ripon Area Fire Board of Directors for action.
The way it's set out here is that it's a stand-together document. So you're referring back to each municipality and the board what are known as amended bylaws. So everything that's not modified stays. What's modified is changed in total. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So your motion is to send back
Send
the
back
amended
to the other municipalities for adoption.
To the fire board first.
and Firebird and other municipalities ultimately.
Right.
For
Going
clar-
with it.
for clarification, to your
Yep.
point, shouldn't we state then, we're talking about specifically Article 10C and Article 10E?
To include, but the amended bylaws are the entire document. So we're not looking to pull, like Mark was saying, there's other things that can be discussed. This evening, you're saying, please consider amended bylaws as directed by, passed by the city if it passes, city of Ripon, back to the board, back to the other municipalities.
And
The
for-
whole document.
For
is what
clarification,
I'm
the entire document is in the packet.
Yeah.
And we're requesting that certain clauses be changed, but the entire document, as presented, should go to the fire board for approval.
Well, then just for clarification, can I ask though, didn't my colleague just say that this is from 2010 and that you have said that there's been other amendments since then and that this may not be the official? Didn't you just say that?
No.
No.
What happened was, there was, within these bylaws, the procedure is that the board can recommend for adoption or can pass bylaws. So they approve of the bylaw amendments that had happened in between these original bylaws and today. Then what needed to happen, my understanding, is that those amended bylaws would go to the city of Ripon, the town of Ripon, and the town of Nepiescum. They went to, I'm not sure which ones they all went to, but it did not get then passed by the township boards or the council at that time. And so therefore, those newly amended documents never were formally ratified into the bylaws of the fire district. So then it defaulted back to what we have in front of us, well, the non-amended portion of what we have in front of us for the 2010 bylaws. So there were attempted changes that were
Not executed.
were wanted to do, but were not executed throughout all three of the municipalities. And I tried to find the wording or any changes from those, but all I found was a meeting minutes saying that there were amended bylaws from, I apologize, I don't remember which year it was exactly, but
Diane, do we have a second to the motion?
No.
Just the motion? Okay, would anyone like to second Doug's motion? David, thank you. All right.
I have one question, Lud.
Yep.
From the perspective of approving these.
Yep.
Would they need to come back if they were approved by the other entities? Or is this a approval of these bylaws? Because there's some timing issues and just wanting to understand.
Yeah, in terms of timing issues, clearly looking for another council meeting. This action is ratification that this document, the city of Ripon is prepared to sign on to and move to the next question, which is what's driving this topic.
But is there a
Is the purchase of the fire.
legal issue with us ratifying before the
You're
board
not,
approves it?
you're not ratifying, you're indicating that you will act upon these bylaws.
So legally,
necessary.
the board has to send it back to us for final approval. We can't.
I'm trying to short circuit if we can, because we got a timing issue with purchase of the truck and dollars that will be lost. I guess a special council meeting, I don't have a problem with that if anybody's going to question the legality. And again, the bottom line is all municipalities must sign on. They are nothing until all municipalities sign on.
I just want to comment, I didn't get the exact wording of the initial motion here, but I believe the city's motion could be to approve and send to the district board. Then if they approve, it already has our approval, and it still would subsequently need approval of both towns, so they all could sign on the signature lines of this document. But I think we could
Again, the point that
also
the mayor's
approve today.
raising is that the board needs to bring forward.
Correct.
We're telling them the language that we will accept.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
So I think if our motion includes the word approve and send, this entity would have given their formal approval to sign that document
Yeah, I
along
think
with
you
the
can
other
add that
entities.
then, as part of that motion, can say to, because of the timing, and we can add this to the motion, because of the timing, direct the city administration to move forward with the necessary business after this passage, is what Sean is offering. Trying to do both this evening, and I don't care which way it goes. Timing is the issue. That's why Adam raised the
Diane, can you read the motion?
All I have right now is approve and send to the district the amendment, or the amended Ripon Area Fire District bylaws as presented.
Okay, and if we added language indicating that the city is prepared to move forward without further proceedings. The city of Ripon is prepared to move forward with these bylaw changes without further action by the city of Ripon. That's what Sean's asking for, that's what Adam's asking for, to keep this thing moving because of timing and avoid having another meeting.
I'll accept that
Okay.
change.
I also, yes.
Accepted by Doug and David, the mover and seconder. And
I think I've got a handout, but we'll double check.
Thank you.
By
And
the other
send to the
municipalities.
district the amendment, the amended, approve and send the amended to the fire area, I'm sorry. to
Yep.
the Fire area fire district bylaws as presented, indicating the city is prepared to move forward without further proceedings.
Yep.
Are we,
If passed by all member municipalities.
are we sending it to the fire district?
we
or
are,
the-
we
or
send
the-
it, we are sending it to the fire district board.
Okay, what about the municipalities? Are we sending it to them?
It would be the board's responsibility to approve this first and then send it to the municipalities, knowing that the city has already approved
Okay. I
So it would
wanted
just
to
need
make sure
approval.
that we understood that.
from the two townships. Mark, did you have something?
I was just trying to speed read through this and look, but the language in the bylaws is just Article 15, effective date. The effective date of this agreement shall be the last date that any party affixes its seal hereto. And we can pass and adopt these amended bylaws, seal them, and send them on to the member municipalities for them to vote upon. And that would, in my understanding and reading of this, satisfy all requirements of the city of Ripon to adopt and take on these amended bylaws.
So your reading of this is we can skip the board and go straight to municipalities?
I would not recommend that we skip the
Oh,
board.
I wouldn't either, but.
But the wording in these bylaws does say that if the city of Ripon were to pass and adopt these amended bylaws, then the town of Ripon, the town chair could affix their seal after voting if passed. And then the town chair of the town of Nepiescum could affix their seal as passed. And that would then adopt and ratify these amended bylaws from those three municipalities.
Yeah, and Article 14 says the fire board has to adopt it as well. So by three-quarter vote.
I missed it by 3/4.
Three-quarter vote by the fire board and three-quarter vote by each municipality.
So you both got to do.
Following. Yep, it's got to go. That was you pointed out the part that I missed.
But there's nothing that says that the board's got
We
to
have to
vote
come back.
first.
So
These
if we get 3/4 vote tonight, the way the motion is worded, this is our approval.
No, I would say 3/4 vote of the participating municipalities.
Right, not of the.
So which means that there has to be unanimous approval by,
Because of the number of.
because of the number, it used to be 4, now there's 3, and you can't, it's 3 for 3 to get to 75.
Okay, so it's referring to the municipalities, not the,
Yes.
within the municipality. Got it. All right. So in this body tonight, we just need a majority.
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion on these bylaws?
And the only reason we're trying to have that additional clause is to try to save money. If you read it all the way through, technically, it should be ratified within 90 days of the board action. So we're moving it a little bit. I think in further review, we're just simply going to send it to the board that these are the changes. The board needs to adopt them. Hopefully, they can hold a special meeting, and ultimately, we'll need to hold a special meeting. So we're going to eliminate, start again, make your motion, Doug, rescind your other motion.
Yeah, I'll resend my other. motion.
Seconder?
Second.
All right, start again.
Okay, what do you want the motion to say?
Essentially that the city moves these amended bylaws for board consideration to be adopted by the fire board and sent to all municipalities.
Okay, that's what I want my motion to
Thank
say.
you.
You have that, Diane?
Nope.
Well, I like the honesty.
I have approved and sent to the Ripon Area Fire District the amended bylaws as presented, indicating the city is prepared to move forward without further proceedings.
We've
we're
rescinded that motion.
Okay.
The current motion is to send the amended bylaws to the fire board for adoption and referral to municipalities.
Yep.
And I will second that.
So it's motion by Doug still and a second by David still. And so that will need to come back to us.
Correct.
With that motion.
Correct. And we would hope that all hold special meetings to keep this thing moving if we have significant money
So
saved.
be prepared for a special meeting if and when these are approved by the board.
To member municipalities, right?
Yeah.
To member municipalities.
All right. Now that we have a clean motion, any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote on approving and referring the amended bylaws to the Ripon Area Fire District Board for approval and subsequent referral to municipalities
For ratification.
for ratification. Adam?
Dankert,
Yes.
You got it? Okay.
Gallup,
Yes.
Gatsby,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Schatzinger,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Litt.
Yes.
Carried.
You. All right. We will stand by for a likely special meeting on ratification. Our next item is amending, nope, we got that done. Next item is a revised budget from the Ripon Area Fire District. Only change to this is the purchase of the fire truck in the amount of $998,000, which is the last line under capital.
So the motion that you would be seeking in light of the decision to pass the prior motion would be a motion to accept the budget and direct administration to take the necessary steps to fund the purchase of the Pierce fire engine after verification that all member municipalities have approved and adopted the amended bylaws passed by the City of Ripon Council on January 13th. No, proposed, not passed, proposed by the City of Ripon Council on January 13th, 2026.
Would anyone like to make that motion?
I will make that motion. Don't ask me to repeat it.
I will second it.
We have a motion by David, second by Doug. So basically, in simple English, we would approve this amended budget pending approval of the bylaws that we just passed.
Yep.
If those bylaws do not pass, this budget would have to come back to us for approval in another manner.
So we're signaling to all member municipalities, City of Ripon is prepared to move forward on the amended budget and purchase the fire engine contingent upon the amended bylaws being passed.
Question. We're saying we're going to spend what,
The
$998,000?
district would be.
District.
Our portion is
Our
about
portion is-
$760,000.
So that's the district.
So we're
will
not
pay
going
for
to debate that question
and
again.
we will pay our,
If they pass the bylaws.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do, so that isn't one of these bait and switch kind of things. Oh, wait, never mind, we still aren't
Gotcha.
going to
Okay.
buy no fire truck. It just says to everybody, straightforward, honestly, top of the deck, we need the amendment that we just voted on in order to go forward on the purchase of the truck that has already been ordered and set to be delivered sometime in April, I believe. And there is a further kicker that I've been informed that there's like $13,000 can be saved if we do this quickly. And so that is the point of your prior language.
My question is, are we going to buy this or are we going to lease this truck?
We would purchase.
That's what I hoped.
We would finance, but we would purchase.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a lease.
The fire district would.
Correct.
Authorizing the fire district to purchase,
Okay,
provided
Good.
the amended bylaws
thank you.
are passed and ratified by all municipalities.
Jolene?
Being that I used to serve in the Ripon Area Fire District, I was at the ground floor when the discussion 3 years ago were about why we needed an engine as due to the date of the old one, due to also looking at what the needs are of the fire district. A tour was given to Pierce, every little item to the fire engine was reviewed, but I guess because I'm no longer on the fire district, is it good to just get a very brief reminder of people listening from either our president of the fire district, or I do know we have a member here from the fire district. Should we give that briefly?
Regarding what?
I mean, just in general, reminding people that are listening the need for a fire engine. I mean, this has been a 3-year conversation, but that it has been thoroughly reviewed. It is helping with the safety.
There's probably a much better explanation, but the fire equipment is old. And I can't remember specifically, somebody else on the board might remember the specific age, but 20 years, 22 years,
We're pushing 30.
30 years. So everything is aging out and it needs replacement.
Again, I remember this from serving on, and again, it's a pretty long discussion. We don't spend over $700,000 of our Ripon taxpayer money lightly, but I just thought it's worth stating how much time and effort went into looking at the need for this.
Yes. Do you want more information, or?
I can restate it with synonyms, but no. I mean, it's costing, I mean, every month, like, there's upkeep to it, right? There's anybody listening that knows that having an old vehicle, the longer you keep the old vehicle, the more cost there's in it. And as it pushes and gets to be older and older, that cost just continues to go up until it just can't be used anymore. There's a decline in how much it can be sold for in a Wisconsin auction. So I can't remember how much we got for the last thing we auctioned off, 5,000, is that right? So, yeah, I mean, the goal is get something new before it starts to nickel and dime the district out of money that we don't have. And we can still put it up for auction and get at least something out of it.
I can just add that the original purchase order that's been presented to the city from 3 years ago was $885,000. The cost of the engine has grown to $998,000. That is after the Ripon Area Fire District membership made, from what I understand, cuts and adjustments to the original order to take off bells and whistles and paint jobs and things like that, right? So the cost of apparatus in fire currently is exploding. And the idea that, this is the time to buy it, although it's that expensive, if you wait and you order today, there's a likelihood that that cost is even greater in 2-3 years down the road. So it is advantageous to buy this, not only because of the condition of other equipment, but the fact that fire apparatus are increasing by about 10+% year after year for no apparent reason, other than there are only a couple companies that are making fire apparatus. So this is, in terms of challenges within fire departments, not only our own, but the entire state and frankly, nation, staffing and fire apparatus are the two costly things that everybody's dealing with and the biggest concerns. Because fire apparatus used to be way less, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and not going year after year increasing from $885 upon order to $998 at delivery.
Am I also correct that if we were to not, I am in favor of this. Again, I was at the ground level. The case was made why we looked at this 3 years ago, so I'm in support of this. But that if we were not to approve purchasing this and we were to rescind our fire engine that is currently waiting soon at Pierce, a Wisconsin company, that we would lose 6 figures of money if we'd have to pay.
The penalty for not proceeding with the purchase is roughly $300,000. And it is not our intention to not purchase the truck. We want the truck. But the purpose of these bylaws, for one, is to possibly grow the district, which is the hope. But two, if we approve the budget without the bylaw changes, it just puts the financial exposure of the city is just too great. If there is any reason where we need to leave the district, any reason whatsoever, we would be walking away from $750,000 of equipment just in this one purchase. Thus the reason for linking the two together. But the city absolutely agrees that this truck should be purchased. We want to purchase it. We just want to do it in a responsible manner. John, then Steve.
My question is why we have this amended budget from the fire district given to us, did they just get the final purchase price and they had to amend the budget? Or was it not in the original budget?
It was not in the original budget. Someone on the board,
Yeah, I mean, Ellen can jump in if I say something incorrectly, so apologies, but the delay, I would say, was in the conversation about the bylaw changes and financing between all the municipalities, right? So we started those meetings, I don't know, what is it, January? When did we, October? Does that sound right?
September.
September, right? So we started talking about it back then. Before we could put it into the fire budget for this year, we really needed a little more line of sight to how to do it on the bylaw side. So,
I can speak to it a little bit if you'd like.
go ahead, Ellen. Sure.
The error was, I would say I will accept the error on this because I had asked board members what past practice was for buying equipment and did not realize at that time they were not following the bylaws. I have to thank Attorney Wirtz for his institutional knowledge of the origins of the district. And in reviewing the bylaws with him, agreed that we had not been following the bylaws. And we brought in Von Griesen counsel for the district, our district attorneys, and both of them agreed that the bylaws had not been followed and they need to be followed. And those are some of the struggles that we have had. It's a difference between past practice and what the actual bylaws organizing the district are. And this is not the only issue that has occurred. There are things that have been occurring for the last 10 or 12 years that are not following the bylaws. And as we attempt to step back and follow bylaws, there's always some pushback. And what we're trying to do is what is actually appropriate given the original documents that founded the district.
Does that answer your question, John?
Pretty much.
Thank you.
My concern is, I mean, it's a lot of money, and it seems like it was just dropped into our lap, and we're in a big hurry to come to some conclusion on this, and I just feel that maybe we didn't have enough time to think things through or look it over. I'd like to see a little more accountability in just pushing $500,000 a year to the fire district, and do we ever get to see their bottom line at the end of the year?
So their financial audit is included in ours. They are part of that. You can see kind of where they stand year after year. And you know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, if you review some of the minutes and the video of past meetings with the fire district, particularly the one from January, you can kind of see their attorney's, you know, advice and regarding this issue. And ultimately, you know, there are 4 members of the Common Council that go down there and then, you know, can bring things back as needed. You can kind of learn about that through that meeting. But at the end of the day, yes, we have 4 members down there that are representing the city. And this is them, they voted to bring this budget amendment back, right?
Thank you.
And I will say they are working on improving processes, to get us the information in a more timely fashion. They're working well at that. Steve?
Not to spend our taxpayer money anymore than we have to, but I've seen reports from other communities that are refurbishing fire trucks now. I mean, obviously, we're talking 30-year-old trucks, some of them. The newer ones, though, the other communities are facing the same problems, and they can't go out and buy $1 million trucks all the time. and they can't wait for them as long as they do. They've shown that they can refurbish a truck and recertify this truck, and they completely go through the trucks for $250,000. That way, at least you know you have something that's not gonna fall apart when you go out to the fire, hopefully, because even a new truck can fail. So some of our newer trucks, instead of getting $5,000 for them, and they don't have that many miles on them, I hope they think about refurbishing some of them before they go out and
But I
have to buy $1 million
will
every
remind you that
year.
our newer trucks are almost 30 years old.
Well, I've seen fire departments where their trucks are even older. I mean, the ones that we have in the parades that we put out there don't have that many miles on them.
Doug?
It's not miles so much as hours on the engine and the truck sitting there idling. But we're not talking about refurbished trucks tonight, we're talking about purchasing
Well, I know,
this new engine. So down the road in 5, 6, 8 years, there might be a sea change, there might be a company that scoops up older engines and can totally take them apart, sandblast them, refinish them, put some new parts on, stuff like that. But that ain't tonight. Tonight, it's just this, what we're talking about. So I like to kind of stay on task here and have that conversation on a possible refurbished engine for another day.
John?
If we do approve this tonight, Adam, could you just tell us quickly how we're going to pay for it?
So yeah, so generally speaking, within the 2026 budget, there was a contingency line item put in capital that would be allocated to this expense. We would sit down with our finance director, Sean, and review the city's finances, look at our other capital expenditures for the year, and determining a finance structure, whether that be cash, combination of cash and debt, or debt. Ultimately, generally speaking, the city has used debt to pay for large purchases of this nature in the past. Although we have started to allocate some resources or dollars in fund balance to purchases like this. And a couple years ago, we tried to put CDs towards certain potential purchases down the road. So that will come forward with a full financing package. But generally speaking, we have cash to pay for it upfront, and then it would just be either, using fund balance or a combination of refinancing. So that is yet to be determined. But in terms of if we were to be requested the money today, we have the funds available to write a check.
Good. Thank you for doing your job well, that we have that money.
Well, it's Sean, hopefully. I'm not.
Any further discussion on the amended budget?
You want to try to read it back, Diane?
Sure. I have a motion to accept the budget and direct administration to take the necessary steps to fund the purchase of the Pierce fire engine contingent upon and after verification that all members of the district municipalities approve and adopt the amended bylaws passed by the City of Ripon Council on January 13th, 2026.
As opposed to the word pass, say proposed. Proposed.
Can you read it again?
Is there going to be any further discussion on this motion? One last time, any further discussion on this motion?
Just want to clarify, whoever made the motion and second, that the extra wording, the proposed wording for
And while I got that opportunity, it's going to be proposed and passed.
Exactly.
Both words. Both words.
Motioner and seconder.
Proposed and passed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with the change.
All right, so we'll take a roll call vote on that motion.
Dinkert,
Yes.
Gallup,
Yes.
Hetzke,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Sorensen,
Yes.
Whit,
Yes.
carried 8.
Thank you. Thank you all. All right. That's our last agenda item. Moving on to project updates and staff reports. Anything Public Works?
I have nothing to add other than full good report.
Thank you. Parks and Rec?
Same amount, same.
PD? Same. Diane, anything from you?
Nope.
All right. Adam?
So in your packet, you have my report, just a couple things to be aware of. The quarterly newsletter will be launching. We also launched Ripon Code Connect today, which is a code enforcement platform. So be on the lookout for that. Couple other things that'll be coming your way or we've implemented, including the E-plan exam and the DSPS designation for code or commercial building codes, and then the 2 RFPs that are out for the well and redevelopment of the Matoman site. Happy to answer any other questions.
So the question on the building inspection thing that was on the table. So from our last meeting with the changes that we did to building inspection, in the future, would we expect to see some of the smaller amounts that don't have the building cost drop off? Because we put that $2,000 and it might not need,
I'd have to look at what,
because there's just some that are blank.
yeah, there's some that are blank. So I've asked for a more thorough report and a final report for the year, so kind of giving a total of everything that was done. But yeah, sometimes that's reflected on what the individual puts on the permit. And if they don't put a value, then there may not be it, so we can ask that information be imported.
Any other questions for Adam? All right. One comment I have tonight is a long-range announcement for the spring elections will be April 7th of this year. There is no February primary for us, and so our next election will be April 7th. Any comments or future agenda items from council? John?
I don't know if it has to be on the agenda or anything, but could we get an update sometime on the proposed or the apartments in Sanmar? Like a start date or how that's
Yeah,
going?
I'll forward you information. It's starting.
Okay.
It'll start in this spring.
Okay.
I just talked to them yesterday.
Good, thanks.
Anyone else? Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
I'll second.
A motion by Doug, second by Mark. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 8:38. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Ron, I need 4 minutes of your time.